holder.
DJ
My question is,
Shamshuwn.
do you think that capitalism is the cure for Black people's economic situation?
Ask me that again. I'll make sure I got it perfectly clear. Repeat your question.
We're wondering whether or not you believe that capitalism, the system of capitalism, is a remedy for the Black person's economic situation.
Oh, that's an easy question. You're feeding me soft questions. That's an easy one to answer. Most definitely, capitalism, what every Black person on this earth should be practicing right now. Since every nation on the earth now is practicing capitalism. At one time, the Chinese and the Russians were stressing communism. Capitalism is essential for Black folk. The problem is that it's two things. First of all, Black people do not recognize that capitalism came into existence. It came into existence because of Black folk. Capitalism never existed on the earth until slavery started for Black folk. Black folk are the core essence of capitalism. The only problem is that they're the only people on this earth that's been strictly focused and been manipulated into trying to practice capitalism without capital. And that's the issue. That's what slavery is about. Slavery is about making sure we maldistribute almost 100% of all the wealth, resources, minerals, rights, privileges, controls of everything into the hands of the dumb and the white society. And that's the issue. Now let me tell you what capitalism is. Then I'll let you get your second question is. Capitalism came into existence about the 1500s, about 1503 to be exact. And before that, you had mercantilism. Capitalism came out of two things. First of all, when Pope Anderson of the Catholic Church, he made a pronouncement in about 1488. Because what he says now is we got a new thing that can generate revenue and income, and you've been enslaving people for years based on being a personal indebtedness, being a prisoner of war, or religious persecution. Now let's move to something new. And when they started discovering the Western world, and five or nine nations jumped in, so let's start using Black folk to produce wealth and resources. And so capitalism in definition is owning, controlling the land, the tools, the resources, and using other people's labor to generate wealth. Black folk are the core essence of that produce the wealth and enrich everybody on earth, every religious group, every language group, every gender group except themselves. They enrich the entire world.
So based on what you're putting forward, I worry that there are systems of oppression that are baked into
DJ Shamshuwn.
That's not a simple issue, Sheldon. That's a class issue. Every group on earth is gonna have classes. We're gonna have ups and downs and lows and highs within that group. But that's classism. That's not racism. Racism is different from classism. That's why in America we can't get the issue straight because they keep confusing classism with racism. Classism determines where you are in terms of what you own and control, and that's Black folk outside and underneath the system and around the world. It's not a class issue. That's a race issue. And consequently, Black folks keep trying to say, well, why can't we be enriched? You can't be enriched if you're outside and underneath the system.
Okay. So, in this, what I would call like a new vision for Black economic prosperity, how do we make attempts to counteract, this racism, this classism? How do we counteract it? If we are to create a new paradigm?
It's very easy, Sheldon. That's a good question, Sheldon. You gotta do everything you can to learn how to acquire wealth. Now, what is wealth? Wealth is the result of labor. You cannot have wealth without having labor. Somebody provides the labor, somebody owns, and somebody increases or aggregates